everyone, Justin Crumley here with the Cujo Productions channel. Welcome to another edition of Cujo Productions Sports Talk. Much like last week with the first round of the NFL playoffs, this week I'm going to give my predictions on the divisional round. There is the same amount of games this week as last week. This time, the teams that have bye weeks are playing. And without further ado, let's just get straight into the video. First up, we have the Atlanta Falcons facing off against the number one seeded Philadelphia Eagles. And the strange thing about this one is Atlanta is actually favored. Last I checked, it was a 3-point spread. So technically, Atlanta is 3-point favorites. I would never have guessed that a number 6 seed would be favored over a number 1 seed. But there is a good reason for that, as Carson Wentz obviously will not be playing in this game. He is done for the year with a torn ACL. Philly is forced to use Nick Foles, who has shown signs of greatness. I want to get into Philly first before I get into Atlanta. Philadelphia this year was a huge surprise. They had a top defense, I believe, a running defense, I think they were. I'm not 100% sure, but a very improved team that took an NFC East that was very unpredictable coming into this year. Carson Wentz was absolutely on pace to win the MVP award. I don't think it would have been unanimous, but I think he would have won had he not gotten injured. And there is still debate that he could potentially still win the award. So we'll see where that goes. But nonetheless, he's injured. It's a huge blow to Philly. And I honestly do think that is the reason that they are underdogs in this game. Technically, 3-point underdogs. Over at Atlanta, definitely surprised me last week. I didn't think they would beat the Rams. I thought Todd Gurley was playing at a whole different level. I just thought the Rams were going to excel and keep their momentum going under Coach Sean McVay, but nonetheless, Atlanta overcame it and beat them. I didn't get to see the game, unfortunately. I was at work, so I can't say a whole lot from that game. So on to the prediction. I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons on this one. I think Philly can win this game. I think it's a winnable game, but I'm not sure I trust Nick Foles as much as I would Carson Wentz. Not that Nick Foles is bad. Like I said, he's shown signs of greatness. But, yeah, I'm just going to go with Atlanta on this one. I think Atlanta's riding a hot hand. They have a bit of a chip on their shoulder. They're trying to get back to the Super Bowl and undo that 25-point lead that they blew last year. Try to get that bad taste out of their mouth. So I am going to go with the Falcons on this one. And that's that. Next up, we have the Tennessee Titans going into Foxborough and facing off against my New England Patriots. Really looking forward to this game because I've been looking forward to the Patriots all week. And Tennessee really surprised me, and I think a lot of people last week. Coming back from being down by 18, scoring 19 unanswered points, and beating Kansas City. I mean, I didn't think they would even beat Kansas City. But they came back from a 21-3 lead, so they're definitely better than most people gave them credit for. I think Mariota had a pretty decent game last week. Really good game last week, actually. Derrick Henry supposedly played really well. I didn't get to see it because, again, I was at work. So I can't comment too much on what happened in that game. I did see the highlight of Mariota catching his own pass. That was really cool. And as far as New England goes, what can I say that hasn't already been said? This is kind of just business as usual for New England. I'm not going to get too much into all the garbage about, the tension between Robert Kraft, Tom Brady, and Bill Belichick. If you want to see more about what I think about that, you can check out my Facebook page. I posted a live video talking about it. It's not something I feel the need to get into because I don't want to waste my time with it. I just want to get to the predictions. So with that said, I do think New England is going to win this game. They are 13 and a half, I can't talk, point favorites. I'm not sure I see them winning by 13 and a half. Maybe. I mean, on paper, this isn't much of a game, but I think Tennessee is better than people give them credit for. They are in the playoffs for a reason. That being said, I can't see Tennessee beating New England. Yes, they beat Kansas City. Yes, I said I can't see them beating Kansas City, but Kansas City, I think I mentioned this in the last video, sunk. They started 5-0 and ended the season like 10-6, barely winning the AFC West. I believe they were 10-6. I'm not 100% sure. I can't really remember at the moment, but Tennessee definitely played a up and down Kansas City Chiefs team. Not taken away. I'm just saying, in this matchup here, they're playing a much better team. They're going to have to bring their A game. I just don't see it happening. I think the Patriots are going to end up winning this one and playing in the AFC Championship again. Next up is the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is an interesting game. Jacksonville, earlier in the year, absolutely demolished Pittsburgh. I believe they picked off Roethlisberger, I want to say 4 times, 5 times. I don't remember the number, but I remember when these two played in the regular season, I remember thinking Pittsburgh was just going to roll them over, but no, it was quite the other way around. Jacksonville is a huge surprise this season. As I said in the last video, they were a top defense. I believe they were number 2, maybe number 1. I know them and Denver were kind of neck and neck. Jacksonville is one of those surprise teams this year. I don't think anyone saw them making the playoffs or taking the AFC South. It was a pretty good year for Jacksonville. I think the only thing holding them back is Blake Bortles. Now, I did see this game last week against Buffalo. Bortles had more rushing yards than passing yards. He had 89 rushing yards and 83 passing yards. I never really took Bortles for a scrambling quarterback. I don't get to see him play that often, so I don't know. But I do think that he's manageable. I don't think he's great, and I don't see Jacksonville bringing him back just because he's inconsistent. With all that said, Pittsburgh, they have this thing where they seem to play down to their opponent. Not that they're not a good team, it's just the thing I've heard is that they played down to their opponents, and in the last week of the year, they actually declared Le'Veon Bell and Ben Roethlisberger inactive, and they barely beat the Browns. Now, that could be because they didn't have 2 of their big starters, but nonetheless, the Browns, I mean, yeah. Now, I don't remember the line on this one. I know Pittsburgh is the favorite, and it would be easy to pick them. But this is going to be my upset pick. I'm going to go with Jacksonville on this one. Yes, bold. I don't care. It's going to be a close one. I do think it's going to be close. But I do think Jacksonville is going to pull this one out. This is my upset pick of the weekend. Jacksonville over Pittsburgh. You might think I'm crazy. Maybe I am. Wouldn't be the first time I've been accused of it. But nonetheless, I'm calling it the upset pick of the weekend for a reason. I got Jacksonville over Pittsburgh. And finally, we have what I believe is going to be the game of the weekend. Best game this weekend. The New Orleans Saints, Minnesota Vikings. This is going to be fun to watch. I can't wait for this one. New Orleans had a tough game on Sunday against Carolina. They started off really well, just absolutely dominating, and Carolina made it interesting, making a comeback, but couldn't pull it off. New Orleans held on to get the win and move on to Minnesota. Minnesota is another one of those teams that is kind of a surprise, kind of not. I've always thought Minnesota was one of those teams that didn't get enough credit. I never would have predicted that they could go 13-3 and be the number 2 seed in the NFC. I didn't see that coming, but they've had a growing defense for years, and that unit's only going to get better. So, and Case Keenum, the guy is playing some good football. A really surprisingly good quarterback. I don't think he's like a franchise guy. I'm not sure if Minnesota should really hold on. But, hey, if it works, it works. I can't complain about it. As far as the prediction goes, I am going to go with the New Orleans Saints on this one. I know technically Minnesota is, last I checked, 5-point favorites. So technically this is an upset pick. But I don't know if I'd consider it like a huge upset if New Orleans wins. I think New Orleans is riding a hot hand. Minnesota is a good team. There is no doubt about that. But I just feel like Drew Brees and Alvin Kamara, I think I pronounced that right. I'm not 100% sure. Mark Ingram, the receiving core, they're playing at a great level right now. Marshawn Lattimore is also playing really good on the defensive side of the ball. New Orleans is just, like I said, they're riding a hot hand. I feel like they're going to win this one and move on to the NFC Championship against the Atlanta Falcons. That could be an interesting game if it happens that way. So at the end of it, I'm going to go with New Orleans on this one. Alrighty, everyone, you've heard my predictions. What are your predictions for this weekend? Whatever they are, throw them in the comment section below. Feel free to give any kind of predictions that you want on any of these games. If it's sports, let's talk. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. Be sure to check out my social media links, my Facebook page, my Twitter page, my Instagram page, and my Redbubble page. If you want to buy some merchandise of mine, it is all in the description below. So be sure to check all that out. Have a great day, guys. If you're not having a great day, I hope it gets better. Until next time, I'm Justin Crumley, and this is Cujo Productions, signing out.